Hi, Cami. This is Stephen with Parish Management Interactive. And this is a video lesson that we give typically to new clients to help them get started and give them something to look at their convenience. So this is your Tillamook County portal to get into your planner. And I've given you the information for your login. I'm going to go ahead and log in right now. So we go ahead and put in the username. It's going to load it up. And we've got several tools here, but really the important ones are the booth layout, which controls how you lay out individual booths and create groups of booths. Your exhibitor data, which will identify for you booths that you've already sold. And the sales planner, which is where you do create the vendor or the exhibitor assignment to a booth. There's also services, and that is where you generate your exhibitor lists and the booth inventories. The next one is files, which gives you your loading and saving of your files and some other tools. And then here on the right is your drop down. And this is where you'll have your list of your various interim events and your areas. Right now we've got your outdoor areas, just your all grounds and your close-up view. We've got a building, which is the dairy barn, and the commercial building. Now we'll be adding more as we go, but these are something we can start with. So we're going to go ahead and click on dairy barn. And you can see now that we've got the same plan that you had previous. Let me go ahead and pull that up so you can see it. There you go. There's your dairy barn. And so that's what we started with. Now, we're going to go ahead and load a plan that I've already created for you. We go to our personal folder, load, and we go ahead and we'll click one of these dairy barn plans. We hit OK. And here we go. This is the plan that we had looked at before. Now, your concern was for the correct sizing of your building itself, because it was a rough drawing. Well, what we've got here are scale layouts of the booths that will fit in there. And this will give you an idea of what areas on your floor plan you want to concentrate on making sure that they're accurate. And we can talk about that more. Now, in terms of assigning a booth space, it's pretty easy. We would just go ahead and click on a booth. We click on Sales Planner. And then here we would fill in the company name and a company description. Now those two areas will actually be the only ones that the public can see later when we publish this for the public access. These note areas below are strictly for your internal use, and they can be used not only for your record keeping, but also for the assignments that may be special for that booth, whether it be water outlets or special electrical connections. So I'm going to go ahead and fill it in real quick just with a name. And I'm going to assign a status. Now these colors can represent anything you like, but we have a suggested status. Most everybody has a different color assignment for how they want to do it, but normally it's for your food vendors, your games, your private sales, things like that. And then we hit OK. And you can see here it is. It's been color coded. Now later on, this will give you a great quick glance of the types of booths you have where and the amount of booths you have sold. If we go to the exhibitor data and we click on it, you can see that it goes ahead and pulls up that information for you. So when we want to save this, we'll go ahead and let's say we've done some work on here. When you want to save it, you go to Files. Now let's go ahead, I forgot one thing. Let's go ahead and go to our booth layout tab. Let's go ahead and say that this A2 booth, we want to make it twice as long. So we click the A3, we delete it, we go ahead and click on A2, and then for width, we go ahead and put 24, and we hit OK. And there you go. Now, you see these little red marks. These are your editing marks. And so when you save your plan, they will go away the next time you bring them up. But they allow you to track what you're doing on a session. So if you have a checklist of things to be done, you can compare them with these little red marks and help you keep track. Now, if we wanted to add a booth, I'm just going to pick a booth at random. And you notice we're working just in the single booth control right now. So I'm going to click it. I'm going to hit new. And look, if I try to drag this, it won't drag because you have to have the single booth move checked to be able to move it. I'm going to move it over here. And the reason why we have the single booth move checkbox is that when you're just editing the vendors, putting vendor names in, you don't want to accidentally nudge it. But when you're actually editing, of course, you want to be able to move it. Now, let's just say we wanted to turn this on a 45 into the in the corner. So there's a little asterisk mark for advanced controls. I'm going to take a guess here that I want to do a negative instead of a positive 45. Yep, that's correct. And now we make it right there in the corner. So when I've done all my sessions, I'm going to go to Files and stay in the personal folder, Save. And I'm going to just do example dairy. And then I hit OK, and I've saved it. So let me delete this plan. Let me do a load. And there's our example dairy, and we hit OK. And it's loaded it up for us. Well, let's go ahead and look at another plan. Let's go ahead and look at your commercial building. Now, your commercial building has got a lot of unidentified areas that are pretty critical to your layout, these columns being one, some of your doorways, and the widths and the distances from corners. Well, by working with a known layout, you can identify, again, what critical areas you need to have somebody go out there and get a real good measurement, whether it be the distance from here to the corner, or these columns, how they offset off the wall, and then how they separate. You know, especially you want to know whether the distances, if it's 20 feet centers, if it's 20 feet from center to center, or it's 20 feet from the inside of each column to the inside of each column. But let's go ahead and load a sample plan there. So there you go. There's another layout. Now what we had here was an unusual layout, that you had this curved area, but it had your booths had divided it up into two different areas. Or I'm sorry, three here. And so we went ahead and put the square breakdown, but then we went ahead and hard coded and the area here. Now this is something we can do several different ways, but this is the way we started, but we can talk about it more later. And we do the editing exactly the same way. You can edit this booth too. And you know, this 29, which is just almost a transparent square. It's a little light blue square. All right, let's go ahead and look at one more. We're going to look at your close-up view, and we're going to zoom in on your courtyard area. Now, you'll see that we have to zoom way in. This is where, in this drop-down area over here, we would probably go ahead and make a even more close-up, or a view that just concentrates on this one area to allow you to do these layouts. Later on, when you have several of these smaller event or sub-event layouts, you can actually combine them on your larger plan. But this allows you a convenient way to start looking at them. So let me go ahead and take this back up here. And we're going to do a load. And we're going to do the courtyard close-up plan. And there's our layouts. We don't have anything assigned, and I went ahead and created a color booth here just to make it a little easier to see. And again, when we do our one-on-one lessons, we can discuss that the way we color or change a booth is typically in this asterisk here. In this asterisk, We have all kinds of geometric colors, circles and squares and solid lines and things like that. But now if you look further, we've got round tables for your banquet setups, and we've got things like for your outdoors, like gooseneck trailers and cattle semis, and rodeo areas, and we have some examples of some architectural plans. So please keep in mind, oh yeah, and here's some safety things like porta johns and no smoking signs. But keep in mind that this plan isn't just for event planning, it helps you plan your infrastructure. If you have a building that you're considering, let me go ahead and go to your large all grounds. If you have a building that you're considering putting on this site and it's a pre-built design, we can go ahead and drop that in for you, and you can push it around your site and pick a good and appropriate area when you're working with your board, and avoid those extra engineering and architectural fees for development that we spoke of. Well, that's a pretty quick tour, but you're welcome to go right in and play around with these tools. We've also got, let me see if I can pull it up here. We've got these video lessons. Right here, and it's on our website, but as you see, it's also linked to that introduction page. And this, when you click this one, it'll give you an introduction, but down below we've got some very specific lessons for how to use these tools, and I recommend you look at these. But I also recommend scheduling a one-on-one learning session. We'll use the GoToMeeting software where we can actually share a screen and you can try the tools out, and we can just see what we're explaining at the same time. Well, that about does it. Thank you very much for all the content you sent me. It's very, very helpful, and we'll be talking to you in Salem. Thanks again.